This is a review on writing intros for the cause and effect essay. So first we have here on the screen, we have the parts of the intro, which are three: the hook, background information, and thesis. Hook is going to be something that's a fact that people can't argue with, that everybody can agree with. Background information, these are more facts that are connected to the hook and the topic. And then your thesis is the main idea of your essay. So we're going to go down and look at a couple examples of an essay. So intro in general, what it looks like is something like this. Your hook is up here at the top, and then as you're bringing your background information and giving those extra facts, you're getting to your point, which is the thesis at the bottom. So here's one student sample. So we have here at the top a good hook. More than half of the world is in need of help. Help can come in the form of money or in the form of volunteers. A volunteer is a person who works without money for people who need help to make sure those people are getting their needs met. Some people believe that volunteer work doesn't matter because they don't get anything from it. But there are two positive effects of volunteer works. So a couple of things that we want to point out with this student essay. Number one, as we can see, we have color-coded here. Green is the hook, and then we have all this yellow, which is the background information, and then the thesis, which is red. And the thesis is red because it's very important. Never forget your thesis. So things that the student did well, what I want you to notice, the student has a flow from one sentence to the next. He starts bringing up about people need help, and then the next sentence starts with help can be in the form what kind of help people do, and then from the second sentence he leaves it off with volunteers, and he starts the next sentence with volunteers, talking about volunteers as a person who helps people without money getting their needs met. And then I also like how he starts from general and moves to more specific. Like he's talking about the world and people who, what is help, what are volunteers, and then he's given an opinion here. I also like that. Part of background information can be opinion. Some people believe or some people think that volunteer work doesn't matter because they don't get anything from it. And then that's a nice contrast idea, a nice opposite idea of what he's going to write about in his paper. You know, some people say it's not worth anything, however, there are two positive effects of volunteer work. I would have preferred for him to list out those two effects. Those two effects would be A, N, or 1 and 2, but this is fine. Okay, let's look at one more example here. So here is another student essay, and in this student's essay, he said divorce is increasing in today's world without an end in sight. Some argue that this increase is due to the increased interaction between different cultures. Others argue that this increase is a result of couples having a misunderstanding. This increase is having a major negative effect on children. The impact on a child's life often varies depending on the type of divorce and the age of the child during the divorce. The major two effects of divorce on children are poor learning and bad behavior. So again, if we go back to what color coding it, we have a nice hook at the top here, big general fact nobody can argue with, and then he gives a lot of background information, and then most importantly, he gives a nice thesis. So things that I noticed in this one, again, he moves from general to specific, a fact about the world about divorce, and then he goes straight into arguments or people's opinions about divorce, which is also a great idea. So some argue that this is because of this. Others argue it's because of this. And then he shows, the problem. This increase is having a major negative effect on children, right? So here's the problem. The impact on a child's life, and then he's be more specific. Like, this problem, it depends on how old this child is and, different factors. And then he goes into his thesis. The major two effects of divorce on children are poor learning and bad behavior. Very good flow, very good bringing in general opinions from other people in the world. So I want you to be able to write an intro like this.